Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a blessed, great day. I decided to come over here real quick to give a testimony. I just got in. I had to run around real quick. So I decided to come over here because I was talking to my son yesterday. And as I was talking to him, something had clicked. Something that I did that was pertaining to him that I did with my PCOS situation. And I realized they went hand in hand. And now I don't know if you watched my PCOS testimony, but up there I talked about me having PCOS, how God healed me to make it short, and He blessed me with a son. I actually knew I was having a son before I had a son, and I don't know if I mentioned I also had placenta previa. But anyway, when God does a thing, He does it. My son came a month early through C-section, but everything went. It shocked the nurses, the doctors, everybody how things went. I mean, everything went so well. I was even praying on my bed before they gave me the C-section because they try to read you all this stuff like, oh, just in case you need a blood transfusion, the blood may contain this, the blood may, you know, something that would normally freak me out. But all I did was start praying. I was like, God, please, God, I trust you. And everything went so well. Even to the point that they was watching my son because he came early. But even with his situation, he done so well. He was breathing on his own. He had no issues at all. Like, everything was just perfect to the point they called my room, was like, we can bring your son down there. We can take him off this machine. We don't have to watch him no more. We don't have to do nothing because he's doing so great. So, and then I wanted to get out early, to get back to my home. No, just want to be home. It's a young bed. So I was nervous because it's my first child. But, I knew God had got me through being a mother. So anyway, second day I was sitting up Indian style. My doctor and my nurses walked in and said, you can go home. Yes, and the first place I stopped was the store. I told my husband, stop me at the store. I'm going to go ahead and give me some things. I know I'm not supposed to pick nothing heavy up, but sit in the car with the baby because I know what I want. You can't go in there shopping with me because I want to go pick out what I want. And most people don't know I was in there pushing in that cart, but I was going real slow. But I was getting what I needed, picking it up, putting it in the cart real slow. My husband sat in the car with the baby, and I'm telling you, God, it was all God. The nurses were shocked, like, you walking faster than me when I was in the hospital. Nobody would have knew I had a C-section, even in the store, if I hadn't said nothing, which I didn't. I went there, did my shopping, and went home. Went up steps. Hey, God was good, I'm telling you. Them Google stories scared me. I'm reading stuff about C-sections, and none of it happened. But anyway, I was talking to my son. I'm going to try to make this short. I was talking to my son about something, about his schooling and stuff when we first moved here. We've been here like a little over 2 years now. But anyway, when we moved here, he started off in kindergarten. He never been to school before, no pre-K, no nothing. And so my daughter started off in pre-K. He started off in kindergarten. And at that time, it's COVID, so, virtual learning, Unfortunately, he had to start off that way. And his teacher, on the computer or whatever, she felt like he was behind, and she couldn't understand what he was saying. Like, he has this speech. I'm sorry, I have the window open and when something go by, I know it catch my attention. Distractions. But anyway, he had this speech issue where if he talked, you would have to listen real good to understand him. Most people say a speech delay. But anyway, before we moved here, I had took him to the dentist. She would say he had an issue where they can get him surgery. It was called something as far as the tongue, like a thick tongue. But once I talked to my mother, she explained that my brother went through the very same thing, and the fact that he grew out of it, that she wouldn't do nothing. So I agree with her. Like, I didn't want to give him unnecessary surgery for something that he would grow out of eventually. So Anyway, I was explaining this to his teacher. So most of the time I had to sit by his computer with him. So if the teacher didn't understand, I would say it, or I had to help him as well. He was new in school, so he needed help. I was trying to do that, plus help my daughter. But pre-K is so easy. They send little packets home. I found out what they're doing for the day, hand to my daughter, because mostly coloring. And I'm like, okay, follow the teacher and do what she said. What she said, color. And then trying to keep my child out of the way too, though, because she want to be a part of it, both their classes. She like to think she was running stuff. But anyway, so I explained to the teacher the situation where the dentist had told me, I said I was looking into speech therapy. So she was like, the school probably get that for free. If I sent her email, she was like, just send me an email saying that you have a concern about his speech. And she said, and I will pass along. Just, I need you to write as though you let me know that you have a concern. And I was like, okay. So I wrote it out like I was looking for speech therapy for him. So I passed it off to her. She passed off to the counselors and whoever, and then they scheduled a meeting with me. So when they scheduled a meeting with me, I realized this is more than just about speech therapy, okay? Because they talking about tests, they talking about they breaking down what the teacher is saying, and I'm like, I don't agree. Now, as a mother, we know our kids, so she was saying that he was quiet. And he didn't really communicate that much. I forgot something, so let me back up real fast. Okay, this started during the COVID. He was on the virtual learning, okay? They opened schools back up. You can wear your mask or whatever. So once they opened the schools back up, he was in school. So at this time, she's noticing him in school. She's saying that he is very quiet. He doesn't communicate as much with his friends. His social skills. So at the time they're talking to me about this, I'm not in agreement with it at all, because I'm like, his social skills, when he's at home, he think he's a leader. He think he's running stuff, and not just with his siblings and me, but I have my nephews over, so I see his interactions at home. Now I can't say at school, but mostly he don't know them. Some kids personality, even like me, I might be quiet until I get to know the person, or either I'm around them for a little while. I don't just sometimes pop up with this, hey, how you doing, So I was explaining, maybe he was just getting to feel them out, because my daughter like that, when she meets you, she stare, and she's really feeling you out. So I told her I didn't have an issue with his social skills. I didn't agree with it. So she was like, they wanted to give him tests. So at the time with the COVID thing going on, they had just started opening back to school for those that wanted to go back to school. You could still, the ones that wanted to be virtual could still stay online, be virtual. Matter of fact, the ones that decided to go to school, they broke it down like, so he was going to school on like Monday and Wednesday. That's how they did it, by your last name. So he wasn't going to school every day. So the way they did it where we at, you go to every day the teacher's on virtual. But then she started going by last names, where you'll come to school on Monday and Wednesday. The other kids will come Tuesday and Thursday. And then Friday was cleanup day for the teachers. So that's how they started doing it. So once he started going to school on his days, Monday and Wednesday, they started watching his interactions. And that's when they were saying he had social issues as well. But me knowing my son, I'm like, no, I don't agree. And I know they were just thinking, oh, she's just being a mother. No. At home, my son's very outspoken with his cousins. When we go to the playground, maybe because he's in a new environment, he's just trying to get used to it, trying to get to know the kids. So anyway, I dropped him off at school one day, and then when I picked him back up, they told me they'd let me know the results. So once we had another Zoom meeting, they went over the results with me. They were saying he qualified for IEP. So I'm like, IEP? So I'm like, that one email that got me into all of this. So I told them let me think on it. So they sent me the packet where I can look over everything. And I'm reading over everything because the mother, you're concerned. I'm reading over it, and I'm like, I don't agree with this. And I'm like, telling my son, you know how to do this. Did you not do it for them? And he was just saying it confused him, like the way the teacher was. It confused him a little bit, so he didn't comprehend the way she was saying it, but he comprehended the way I was saying it, which we know is not to take away from the teacher. You know, sometimes kids learn different, and they adapt to certain ways of teaching from different teachers. Me knowing my son and me sitting with him, I learned the way that he would learn, you know. But anyway, I told them let me think about it. They give you a certain amount of time, but they kept emailing me, telling me, oh, it'll help them out, you know, take them out. So I'm like, I don't think 30 minutes a day taking them out of class is gonna help anyway. If you want somebody to help them 30 minutes a day, you can take them out of class without me signing these papers, because IEPs normally follow you throughout the school. That's what I was worried about too. But anyway, okay, 11 minutes. I ain't trying to be here long. But anyway, no one follow you through school, so I talk to my mother. I talk to my siblings. I'm the oldest, but I got the youngest. I know, right? God blessed me when I was in my 30s. They have kids. But anyway, I talked to them. I talked to my mother, and she was talking to me. She was trying to give me advice, but eventually I'm praying on it. So no matter what, I'm going to pray on it and go with what I feel like God is telling me to do. So I'm praying on it. It just wasn't right in my spirit. It just wasn't right in my spirit every time I looked at them papers. And I had somebody tell me maybe I should sign, but it just didn't feel right. So I kept praying on it. And, you know, they kept saying they'll hold him back. But see, this is the COVID. They're not holding nobody back. So I know now they're just talking, because you're not holding kids back because the COVID affected a lot of kids' learning. It actually held them back anyway, as far as grade level they're learning. So I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit. I don't sign the papers. Something in me, it just won't let me sign the papers. So they get somebody to pull him out of class 30 minutes a day anyway, which I suggested, if you're going to do, you can do it without me signing the papers. And I'll see how that go, because I don't think 30 minutes going to change now. That's just my opinion, you know. So, and it changed. It didn't change anything. Fast forward, summer comes. They put him in summer school. So I'm looking at his work when he come back from summer school. And I realized they working on colors, 1, 2, 3s. And I'm like, they put it in summer school. You passed this stage. You passed the color stage. That was pre-K. That's pre-K. You didn't go to pre-K, but I knew from dealing with my daughter in pre-K that's what she's doing in pre-K. So they actually giving him what they giving her teacher's giving her. Because I'm like, he passed the colors. He passed the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I was just like, okay, let's put him in summer school just to put him in there. But anyway, eventually I'm going to fast forward. He went to first grade. You know, my baby girl went to kindergarten. And then my other daughter, she went to pre-K. So now I have a pre-K, a kindergarten, first grader. My son, now, his teacher wanted, we're going to fast forward a little bit, you know. I see he's doing well. His reading is okay. But I expected, because, like I said, with the COVID, set him back. So I don't expect him to go in there just reading and writing. I didn't expect that. So eventually, his teacher calls me and she wanted to schedule a meeting. So I'm like, okay. So I meet with her. She was like, oh, he need help. He's not doing well far as in reading. But she's saying in math. I was like, yes, in math, he's very good with math. So to me, if he's learning math, he's very capable of learning anything. That's just my thought process as she's talking. So we know he don't have a learning disability, because he's very good at math. This is what I'm saying, and this is what I'm thinking. So she was talking about the IEP, and I was like, they gave him that before. She's like, you didn't sign? I was like, no, I did not sign. She was like, oh, do you know the deadline on it? I said, no, I don't know the deadline. I think I'm past the deadline of signing. She's like, I don't know, but I can check for you. I said, okay, you can check. I said, but I got the papers at home anyway. I can look over it and the emails. So she was like, okay, can you give me the date? I was like, okay, I can look at it and I can give you the date of the deadline that they gave me, but I'll look to get him a tutor. You know, and I'm not down on her teaching at all. You know, you got to think COVID, and she was a teacher that had 20 students. You got to think about it. A teacher with 20 students, everybody learning on different levels. Everybody got different personalities. She can't do everything by herself. And I let her know that. You know, it's a teamwork. It's a parent-teacher teamwork thing. So I asked her, whatever issues he was having, you know, let me know, and I'll work on it at home. If he need to study certain words, I'll work on it at home with him, put it in his packet, that I would help him. So she was like, okay, but I think that the IEP would help. I was like, I'll get him a tutor, you know, and if that don't work, then I will, you know, really, really think hard on the IEP, and I may even sign it. But I want to try, you know, because it's not right in my spirit right now. God haven't given me the okay. So eventually my son comes home that day, and I let him know I had a meeting with his teacher. And my son was so sensitive. He cried because he was like, he can't do nothing right. I'm like, no. I'm like, that's not it. You gotta think, baby. We moved, the COVID, everything. I was like, what's gonna have to happen is you're gonna have less game time, less TV time. You're gonna have to sit with mama, and mama gonna have to help you. Because we're a team. We team around here. So we in this together. You know? If he failed, I failed. You know? If he doing good, I'm doing good. You know? This is a team thing. You know? So I started every time he come home from school. You know, I still give him a break. I let him play the game. I let him watch TV. I told him to get off earlier than I normally do. I'm gonna be honest. I had some issues, some attitude, you know, a little kicking and crying. Yeah. And he felt like it wasn't fair. His sisters, they had to do it. You know how the kids are. Felt like I was picking on him. And I kept saying, that's not it. I'm not picking on you. You have to get this right because you don't want to go back to summer school. You already didn't like the fact that you had to go to summer school. Your sisters got to stay home. You thought it was unfair. And I was explaining that you don't want to be behind because I know for a fact that he's very capable of learning. I told him he's very smart. I know he can get it. You know, I encouraged him. So it took about a week. But once we got into the routine, his attitude went away. Once he kept sitting down, and the more he kept learning, once he started learning and seeing, I'm like, look, you spelling that right. Look at you. He actually started smiling about it to the point that he actually started coming to me and was like, Mama, are we doing reading tonight? And I was like, yes. And mind you, I'm praying the whole time. One time I prayed to God and I told God, I said, God, I need your help. I don't know. And I can't do this by myself. I need your help. Because that first week, my son was crying. My son did not want to do no extra sitting there with me reading and learning. Okay? And as a mother, we need strength sometimes, you know. We can act like we know, but sometimes we don't know, you know. And you hate to see your child feel like you're picking on them, but you know deep down they know that you're not picking at them. Excuse me. So I prayed. I even got some anointing oil, which I took some olive oil, prayed over it. I prayed over him. I prayed over his mind. I told God, them teachers are saying that my son needs IEP. And if you do not come through, I'm going to have to sign no papers to keep them from holding my child back. But I pray, God, I pray that you help me so we can prove them wrong. Because there's nothing wrong with my son, because you blessed me with that child. And you're not going to bless me with a child that's lacking anything. And that's what I said to God, you know. And sure enough, that's when the change started coming. Where he'll come down and say, Mom, we reading tonight? And I also made a little fun. I made it where the little flashcards, I put the words up there and stuff, and we'll play little games, and I include his sisters. So ideas just started coming to me. I'm gonna try to make it short because I'm at 20 minutes. Anyway, I got a letter that came in, and it says that my son was on the at-risk list. And I was sitting there, I was like, God, but he's doing better. Like, I see him doing better. He may not be what they want him to be, but it's the fact that he's doing better. It's the fact, to me, that even during COVID, with so many kids set back, you can't expect them to be on the same level. You can't expect, everybody's situation to be the same. So, I ain't gonna lie, I got a little, sit there for a second. Now, this is what I did. Like I said in the PCOS video, if you was watching the paper, the report the doctor gave me. So this reminded me of that very report that the doctor gave me and told me it'll be hard for me to have kids, if I ever had any. This is what it's felt like. Now, I see the growth in my child. I see it. So as I sit there and I put the paper up, it came to me again. Nope. No. They want me to meet with the principal. At first, I sent the teacher a letter and I said, if you want me to meet with the principal, I'm willing to meet with you and the principal. But I'm asking you to include my son, because I know he has come a long way. My son was reading. So I still didn't comprehend why I got that letter. And it wasn't nothing but the devil trying to discourage me. Because my son, when I tell you he was reading. Like, we had come a long way. Like, he's reading books. So I couldn't comprehend why the teacher wasn't seeing this. So once I got that letter, that's what I sent her back. The message, I wrote a letter and put it in his folder for her. So she wrote me back and she said, okay. But she had some appointment coming up where she wasn't going to be at the school, so she couldn't have the meeting. So the meetings kept getting canceled. So one day it hit me about my PCOS, like, okay, when the doctor gave me that report, I didn't receive it. So that's what I'm about to do now. I'm about to take this piece of paper. I'm about to rip it up. I'm not about to receive this. So I took the letter they had sent home that said he was on the at-risk list. I ripped it up and I said, I do not receive it, and I threw it in the trash can. I never had a meeting with her and the principal. Every time something came up, every time, to the point she didn't even ask me no more. I kept sitting with my child these 30 minutes at night, reading, playing games, reading games, going on the computer, finding stuff for him to do. And mind you, I only have like maybe 3-4 months to get him right before they try to hold him back. Because that's when she had the meeting with me, So I was like, okay, I got to get my son right. We ain't got much time. I'm not going to hire no tutor. I'm his mother. No. I'm going to do it. Because like I told her, no. I failed my son, if anything, because of the simple fact we was moving. Not saying that I'm a failure, but I realized that with the moving, with the COVID, with everything, me trying to balance 3 small kids, I didn't sit with him, or maybe I could have put in more time. That's why I was telling myself, and I was telling the teacher this. So I'm going to sit and make this time. I'm going to sit. I don't care. I'm going to sit with my son, and we're going to do this. And once I ripped that letter up, I didn't accept it. I kept on doing what I was doing. I seen his reports coming back better and better, the test. So, one day, I got another letter in his book bag. And I think this was like maybe a month, 2 months later. And it said, your son is no longer on the at-risk list. He's no longer at risk. He has reached the level that he's supposed to be on for his grade level. I couldn't wait to sit him down and read that letter to him. And thank God. And remind my son of our prayers and the work that we put in, the faith without words. And my son was so happy, to the point he wanted to read a book to me. He was so happy. We still need to work on his writing and sentences, because I had to keep reminding him the first letter always counts until he got that. And yeah, we got that letter. And I knew it was coming because they sent home progress reports. And his progress was going up, and I seen it. So I didn't give up on him. And I won't gonna give up on him. He's my son. So, yeah. And I seen it kept going up, and I just knew God was doing something. God was doing something. And the kicker, the bonus was he had a test coming up after that. And he was so nervous. It's the end of school. They're giving them the end of school test. And I think it's MAP, they call it here, I think. He was so nervous, so I got some anointing oil. I prayed over his mind that night before the test. And I asked God to open up his mind to receive and understand what he was reading, and to help him. And that morning we woke up. I fixed him breakfast. We in the car. I'm praying, son, you got this. And I said a quick prayer over his mind. I was like, God gonna help you today. Don't worry about it. God got you today. And 28 minutes. I'm gonna try to stop this at 30. So let me hurry up. So I told him God got him today. He gonna help you on this test. He got you. If he brought you off that at-risk list, he got you. We don't have nothing to worry about. God gonna prove people wrong. God gonna show his power. So my son go to school that day. And when I picked him up, I'm like, how you do on the test? He's like, I don't know. I was like, what you mean you don't know? Do you feel like you knew the answers, or you felt like you didn't know? How did you feel? I'm kind of, psyched myself. Like, I'm psyched. Like, I want to know. But I know God answered our prayers, So as we was driving home, he said, Mom, I don't know how I did on the test. He said, but for some reason my teacher said, holy cow. I said, she said, holy cow. He said, yes. I said, you had to do good on the test for her to say, holy cow. He said, I don't know. She just came over there. She looked at my test and said, holy cow. He said, because I thought I thought I messed up. He said, so Mom, I was sad. I was crying because I messed up. But she came over there and she said, holy cow. So I'm going to end this with this. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. They have awards day. Now, man, when they have awards day, you know how you expecting your child to get the top peer. I don't know, top grader. Well, of course, my son got the funniest award. Somehow, in first grade. He came completely out of his shell in school. The son that I know at home became the son at school. They got to see, like, God just brought him out. He let him be him. He met friends, his best friend and some other friends, and they bonded. And I was not expecting that when she called out the awards, and she was like the funniest. And all the kids shaking their head, yes, like he's a comedian of the class. So this is completely different from kindergarten. I'm showing you how God works. In kindergarten, how he held back his, he wasn't showing himself how he is at home. Here we go in first grade. God got him out of his shell where he's the class comedian. Even the teacher laughing, like, yes. And she was a wonderful teacher now. That's why I'm not taking nothing from her. She was a great teacher. Sometimes we got to do our role, But she's a great teacher because me volunteering at school, I see one teacher, 20 kids. It's a lot. But anyway, she was laughing. She was agreeing. She was like, yes, because she did say one time he came out of his shell. She was like, nothing sure about Malachi, So my point I was making was, I don't got to talk with that. My point that I was making at awards day, as I was sitting there with my son and his best friend, and they being them, now I'm seeing why they call my son the class comedian, especially with his best friend. They act just alike. But the teacher comes up to me and she said, I'm so proud of him. And I was like, thank you. She was like, he came a long way. I said, yes, he did. And I'm very proud of him too. She said, he took his test. And she said he was sad. He had tears in his eyes. And he kept saying he messed up because he finished so fast. She said he kept saying, I messed up. And she said she asked him, what happened? Why you feel like you messed up? He said, because I don't know, I messed up. I finished too fast. I messed up. She said she looked at the test to see what he had done wrong. She said all I could say was, holy cow. He got almost all of it right. And I'm sorry, y'all. He got almost all of them right. And so my son not only came off the at-risk list, not only came out of his shell, but when we prayed over him that night, he finished fast. He finished his test so fast he thought he had messed up. And he got almost all of them right. And that's the reason she said, holy cow. Anyway, I'm going to end this testimony. I'm getting such a cry. Look, I'm a crybaby, y'all. God has softened my heart to the point I have become a crybaby. And I used to be one that hid my emotions, so be careful. Ooh, when God changes you, he changes you. But that's a testimony I want to give. I have to answer this phone call. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, especially when you have kids that you're going through the same situation, or if you need prayer. But yes, y'all, that's my testimony. Now my son reads books at night to me, his siblings. Now to the point, he said beside me try to read everything. I'm like, get off my computer while I'm doing my stuff, all in my stuff. But yes, y'all. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. I'm trying to focus on this and the phone call. But yes, thank you for tuning in. I'll try to give more testimonies. I'll probably do it on my other channel. I only came up here again to get a testimony on this channel because it involved my son. And I get a PCOS testimony on this channel. Excuse me, y'all. It is early and But anyway, basically I'm up here to say, trust God, pray, give it to God. Do not accept what the devil is telling you, because the devil will come and tell you some things. You know, and at first it put a little fear in me, but I did not receive it. I believe what God told me. You know, I believe God. I believe the word of God. When God say we'll provide, when God say he will make a way, when God says that he will help me, you know, in my time of trouble, you know, he will help me, that he will bless my seed. You know, I believe God, you know, not the devil. So come out of agreement with the devil if you are in agreement with the devil about anything, because he will torment your mind. He will tell you what you can't have, what you can't do, what it will be. Pray, give it to God, and God will prove the devil is a liar. He will make him out a liar. And that's what I wanted to say. I should have got my son to read a book just to show you, but yes, he loves to read. But anyway, pray over your kids. Believe God. Trust God. You know, I can't say everybody situation gonna turn out the same. I don't know, but pray, give it to God, and let God show you. Let God guide you in whatever situation, and just agree with God, and God will show you. But no matter what, He's with you, and things will turn out okay. You gotta believe that everything will be okay. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video. Everyone have a great day. Have a blessed day. I pray over your week, your year. I pray God watches over everyone, that God answers your prayer according to his will. So anyway, if it line up with his word, then it's in his will. Have a great day. I'm going to say bye-bye on this note because I got to drink some coffee and some water. Okay.